out.
He got bumped. He's still in the chat, though.
He's in the chat.
He's in the chat, yeah.
Everybody else is still here, or did we lose anybody else?
Nope.
Everybody's good. All right. Hey, welcome everybody to the Bidness. This is where musicians get together and we talk about how COVID and the lockdown and everything has affected our lives and what we did this year and what we're going to do next year. Today's a very special episode because not only are you looking at a panel of some of the original members of Monkey, the first 2 years of Monkey, but you are also attending the show during the week of our 25th anniversary as a band.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
What?
That means you guys played with us 25 years ago.
That's right. Yeah, I was 19. Holy shit.
Not possible.
Yeah. Unreal, man.
I'm 30. How is that possible?
I mean,
your tenure from this band.
there you go. Dude, I found
Look at this.
What?
I'm telling you.
Oh, sick. I found from my old Monkey friends, dude, from way back when.
You guys.
The tenure from this band, if it was a person, it could now rent a car. So
This band is old as my first illegitimate child.
awesome.
The band is as old as I was when I joined.
Great.
We started the band.
Let me do some introductions or reintroductions to the crowd. Today on our little panel here, my name is Curtis. I play with the band Monkey. This is all Monkey members of different generations, including Brian. Brian is our co-host today. And let's go down the line. We got David Richards, who played trumpet. Or I believe he was the second official horn scenario that we had together, a group of horn players. A fantastic player, and now plays for various acts in Southern California, and even for as a orchestral player for the Golden Globe. So he's doing very well musically, and we love to have you here on the show. Next one we're going down to is Nikki Arias. Nikki Arias is one of my favorite people just in general. She's a joy to just be around. and she was like, okay, I got to get off of work early so I look really good. And I was like, you already look good.
This is the first time I've worn makeup in maybe like 9 months.
Nice. So Nikki played on our first album. She played trombone, C trombone. I remember that, the C trombone, and flautist. She was a flautist. So
what is this?
You were one of the
C trombone.
Yeah, it's like one of those little tiny ones with a little bell, right?
No, it's a trombone you throw into the ocean.
It's after the beef trombone.
I think.
Wait till the end of the introductions for the jokes. Okay, we have Kevin Miller. Kevin Miller, the original bassist and co-singer, co-founder of Monkey, and we wrote a lot of songs together. We sung a lot of songs together, and eventually he's like, I want to move up to the Pacific Northwest. I want to live in Arcata, and he's been there ever since, making music and making joy happen in his community. Then we have Adam Brioza. Adam Brioza was the original guitarist back when I played organ for the band, and he was one that came up with those sick licks on Changuito. And then, of course, he's played in a million rock bands in over the years, and now he is a professional photographer. So. We'll talk a little bit more about his profession now. And then Dave Borton. Dave Borton was one of our original trombone players as well. Yay. And we are actually, since we have two Daves on the panel, I may refer to Dave's original nickname, which was Jazzmodius.
Jazzmodius. I'm still known as Jazzmodius. That's still my name.
Nice. Yeah. So good.
Now, I think Dave's been involved in a lot of music over the years, but also a lot of schooling. He helps groups out in a scholastic sense of teaching horns and making sure that the next crop of musicians is as sensational as Jazzmodius. And then we have Bosco. Bosco as our second co-host. Bosco. He's a fantastic DJ in downtown San Jose and also a bartender. And
that's all the people.
And he has
you
your
just mentioned
monkey
right
there. With all of your names on it. Just prove it happened. He's like, there it happened. Welcome to the damn show. How you guys doing?
Good.
Excellent. Excellent.
Awesome to see you.
I'm just happy to see all your happy faces. I mean, I really am. Including Matt, who was on the feed for just a little bit. He can't stay on the feed because he's in the hospital right now. He's recently had some surgery for cancer, and Brian is going to get a link up on the board if anybody feels like contributing to Matt's fund. It's going to help him out, and it's going to help his family out if things progress the unfortunate direction.
Yeah.
So want to make sure that him and his family are well taken care of. So with that being said, let's take it to lighter subjects. Let's start with Kevin. Kevin, what have you been doing for the last year in the COVID lockdown just to deal with not going insane?
Well, like a lot of people, I've got a quarantine project. I'm working on not one, but 2 albums.
Awesome.
An album of original material, and then basically a for fun giveaway album of covers. My favorite covers, obscure, whatever stuff. And I've just been, I decided when I got laid off from the pandemic that I was just going to focus on music 100%. And so I spent like 2 months just work shedding, playing more music than honestly, even more music than when we used to be on tour, playing 3-hour shows all night. And I did like 4 to 7 hours a day, every day for a while. Then I made an investment in upgrading my gear and for recording, and that's really helped the sound that I'm getting. And I'm really finally happy with the sound that's coming out after years of trying to cobble together some decent sounding recordings. I'm really happy with what I'm getting right now, and I'm recording just a whole ton of songs, and it's coming along nicely.
Yeah, the home recording revolution.
Yeah, COVID is definitely the time for it.
For sure. Nikki, what have you been doing on the mean streets of San Francisco? I know you were playing. You were working at the Cat Club, right? And you were playing in a band doing Pixie stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been working at the Cat Club for 20 years, which has been, mostly closed. But I do have a day job. I actually have a day job, and I've been going to work every single day. Wow. So I'm really fortunate. Mm-hmm. But, also I would rather be working from home. That'd be nice. Yeah. But I can't, so I got to go to work. I used to play trombone and monkey. That was 97, maybe? Like 96.
Yeah,
97.
Something like that.
You were right after me. I think that I was right before you.
Oh, man. Damn. I still have trombone, but I haven't touched it in years. But I play bass now mostly, and I've been in a bunch of, tribute bands mostly because I don't have the time to be in an original band. It takes a lot of time and effort and attention to nurture an original band. And I just want to play. And coming from a music theater background, that's all we do is, basically plagiarize. We just keep doing someone else's work. All musical theater, that's all what opera is. That's all.
In the end, everybody does that. In the end, everybody.
Interpreting an existing work, right? 3 bands, super easy. Band for a long time. I was in a Sisters of Mercy tribute band, and for the past 5 years, I've been doing a Pixies tribute band, and a tribute band, cover bands.
Oh, so yeah. There's a distinction.
Your eye. Yeah. There's a is someone getting tortured right now? What is going on?
Dave had a little doggy on his lap, and the doggy got excited.
Nikki, I want to hear that. I want to hear the distinction between a cover band and a tribute band, and what makes the actual difference.
Well, the tribute band is basically like you are trying to recreate the band. You're trying to faithfully deliver a band that the audience loves to them, right? It's very nostalgic, and you have to be perfect because they know what you're supposed to sound like.
Yeah,
In a
and look like.
band, you can play anything, right? And nobody knows if you screwed up. But if you get one hi-hat hit wrong in a tribute band,
You know it.
notice.
Yeah.
So you have to be perfect. And it took me a long time to find a singer who was great. And he's amazing. And I actually played the exact same bass. Well, not the actual same bass, but the same make and model bass that Kim Deal played.
Nice.
So to really get her sound. And so, yeah, so the difference, in a cover band, you can play, bossa nova of a song, right? You can do
Together, right?
you can do whatever you want. That's a cover band. You can do whatever. You can play whoever in the style that you want it. But a tribute band, there's a purity to it, and I'm a huge stickler for detail, so that's like right up my alley. And Pixie's hard. It sounds easy, but it's not.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun. And in actually 2019 was the 30th anniversary of Doolittle, and we actually would play 2-hour shows, which Pixie songs are really short.
Yeah,
so 2 hours is incredibly challenging. But we would play the entirety of the album Doolittle from front to back every single song.
Wow.
So rad.
It was super fun.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a good one too.
I so much.
I will say that a couple years back, I wasn't a Pixies fan. I never they never grabbed me, but a couple of years back, I was I was following this girl around, and I was like, yeah, let's go see a concert, that sort of thing. When I was in between, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna check out my options and whatnot. And so I blew a whole bunch of money to go to Coachella, and they played Coachella, and I was like, yeah, I want to see what these guys are all about. Yeah, show me what you're all about. And they got on stage, and I'm all fat old guys, and this is coming from a fat old guy, and then they proceeded to blow my fucking doors off. They are absolute fire live. So that was something that I missed completely from the 90s. I missed out on the Pixies because I saw their videos and I was like, not about it. And their live experience is so much better. Yeah, so
and their videos aren't their best songs. They're just the more commercial songs.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Sure.
But they have some really cool, interesting time signatures, weird keys. They have some really interesting shit for they're a musician band. Oh, yeah. They're a band for musicians, really. But they have they throw a couple to the plebs, right? They throw a couple to the normal people.
Yeah.
They can listen to certain things.
Yeah. Now
to the plebes.
Now I know you were you're in a tribute band. We have another tribute player here. Dave Richards was in an Oingo Boingo tribute band called help me out. It's Dead Man's Party.
Dead Man's Party.
You know what? We played for Dead Man's Party.
Kidding, I seen them.
Yeah,
he was probably on stage.
They played. Dead Man's Party played at the Great American Music Hall.
Yeah, I remember.
We opened for them.
I remember that.
Dave, were you on stage at that show?
What's that?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I was
3-4 years ago.
Maybe. I don't know. They played Great American Music Hall a couple of times. I've only done it once. What was the name of the band?
Debased. Because Debaser was already taken, so we had to go Debased.
I don't think so. I don't think I was on that one.
Yeah,
I only played with them for maybe off and on for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Their previous trumpet player had quit, and they were looking for a more permanent replacement, and I was the temporary permanent replacement because I couldn't quite commit to the schedule that they wanted from me. Just being a freelance musician, you never know what your next week is always going to look like, and I couldn't book gigs 3 or 4 months out in advance because half the time I'd end up canceling because I'd have to go on the road for a few weeks with another band, and you take the few week gig or the one night gig.
Yeah.
Sure.
We all know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always fun though. I mean, it's a great time on stage, great bunch of people, and great music. So
Great band. There.
yeah.
I really when they came, I had spent years talking to musicians in the South Bay about doing a Boingo cover band, and I could never get the right group of people. That nobody was ever like super on fire. But for me, if I was ever in a tribute band, it would be Boingo or Costello. Those would be my choices.
Boingo is actually touring as their own tribute band now without Danny Elfman.
Right.
So
It's Johnny Bentos,
Former
I think.
members.
Johnny Bentos, I think, might be in charge of that one.
Also, forgot to mention that I also once a year since Bowie and Prince died, we do a huge Bowie Prince tribute night at the Rickshaw. And it's great because I get to play a ton of bass. I get to sing a lot. I play flute on, Moon Age Daydream. It's a sax and a flute.
That is awesome.
And then we do a ton of Prince.
Oh, I love that part.
And then we play a ton of Prince stuff, which is also super fun. So yeah, I just want to perform. I don't want to like waste time with the back stuff with, I just want to get on stage and play. Like I think that is really the easiest way to do it. Honestly.
I think that's been the general feel of everyone that's been on the show is like, yeah, we could talk about how much this year sucked, but I just really want to play.
God.
I just really want to forget.
I have karaoke. I love karaoke, and I haven't even done that.
Oh, Jesus.
I do a wicked "Where Is My Mind" a karaoke, super out of my brain hammered. It's awesome.
Do you
just deconstruct it, you know what I mean? Like make it my own.
Nikki, do you do karaoke at the Mint?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Same.
They have one song that only I'm allowed to sing. They don't even the book.
Oh wow.
Only I am allowed to sing Xanadu.
Nice.
Oh,
You know, if you go off script with Xanadu, that is fierce right there, man.
The very first time I went to the Mint, I got up and I did George Michael's Faith, and I'm walking up, and I'm walking past this whole group of like queens, and they're just like, "What are you doing?" I'm all Faith, and they're like, "You better not fuck it up."
I was drinking there. You almost got a spit take for that.
Them queens are fierce too. They'll kick your ass.
Oh yeah, no shit.
Jasmodius, what have you been doing this year? What's been keeping you busy? I know you're not living in the U.S. anymore. Tell us about that.
I left, man. The end of the year, I came down to Guatemala.
Sweet.
I packed up. I closed down my whole life. Packed my monkey tapes into a box. I packed all my monkey tapes and one CD into a box. They're mostly tapes. And along with my other records and albums, I collected my own discography, if you will.
Nice.
And put it in a box and gave it to Chip. You remember Chip, my brother, the sound engineer?
Oh, yeah.
In one of our demos, I think. And but no, I've been playing a lot this year. I haven't really let COVID slow me down. I've agitated with Partisani Brass Band to say, hey, look, you guys, we're outside. We can stand 6 feet apart, and the urge to play overcame caution, and we went and did a whole bunch of busking on the plaza.
Nice.
Actually, COVID has been good for me because I found a new niche. I like to do ecstatic dance, you know what I mean? Just kind of free-form dance.
Yeah.
And I've made friends with a couple of DJs, and they say, "Hey, you play one?" And I've made some friends who are DJs, and so I've got a new niche, which is standing alongside a DJ playing for a dance and doing trombone.
That is actually pretty.
So I do
Pretty rad.
it's really cool because there's all the electronica, and then there's a little bit of an acoustic thing happening too, to fill in the blanks, and a little motion too. It adds a little movement that people appreciate. Wow, there's actually a human up there.
Nice.
Songs are
Nice.
really interesting. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch someone play trombone.
Oh yeah. It's very like active.
So cool.
I'm a trombone player.
Not really like Chris is doing it. Though. It's a little more graceful than it should be. It's not like jiu-jitsu, man.
I'm going to become the trombone player that plays two trombones at once.
Never seen anybody hand fist the trombone before.
We're
Forging new energy here.
Well, I mean, that's out the butthole.
The monkey is, yeah,
In the butt.
monkey was kind of springboard for me. All that experience I had jamming with you guys. And when did I don't know if I quit or you fired me. I can't remember.
Things happen.
Must have been like 96 or 7. No, 78, 98.
Yeah.
Right before Nikki, I guess.
Right. It was before Led Zeppelin's second album, I think.
Yeah. Beatles still had black hair. Yeah, so
Awesome.
I got into playing a bunch of salsa bands. I've done a couple of pretty hot Cuban, New York style salsa bands, and I did a few years with a street band called Samba Fe, which is Brazilian. We did parades and had funky uniforms and drummers and surdos and bateria and what else? Then lately I've been playing with this Partizani brass band that I sent a link to that. And that's a troupe of crazy people that we have a bunch of arrangements. So we're kind of a cover band, okay? Tribute band, not even, but definitely a cover band. And
well, you're
fun because
you're a cultural band, and the cultural band has cultural significance that overrides any fear of them being just a bunch of hack jobs playing covers. No, you're playing cultural music.
That's actually not untrue. That's true. We don't really try to even be close. A cover band at least tries to make sure that you can recognize what the song is. And we're all kind of pleased if you recognize what the song is, but if you don't, it's still in a style that's sort of a culturally resonant. And I'm teaching. I'm a trombone teacher too. So
Nice.
How many students do you have?
Well, honestly, that dropped off. That dropped off due to COVID. I actually have 0 students. But I got both my. I branched out to bass trombone too. So now I play bass trombone and tenor. And I got both of them with me, and I'm hoping to get some gigs down here in sunny tropical Guatemala. I've met some people already.
With the bass trombone, you can almost play those sousaphone parts for the mariachi bands and the boom 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 boom.
Almost the banda style.
Yeah,
that Mexican
style.
Almost. In fact, when our bass player from the Partizani brass band can't make it, every once in a while he can make a gig, I'll play the tuba part on the bass trombone. It works okay. It's actually a little punchier than tuba.
Yeah,
it's got a little more. Yeah,
it's always hard to find a tuba player that is just succinct, that can really really can get that crackle. It's very hard to get that crackle on a tuba.
And a lot of tuba players don't like to play tuba, right? And Kevin will understand this. There are a lot of bass players that don't like to play bass. You know what I mean? They want to be musicians. I'm a musician and all over the place playing some fancy shit. I'm like, yeah, but where's the bass?
Play tuba.
Okay, I'm going to sit in my corner and play my bass.
Let me get out there.
Hey, Adam. Adam. Go ahead.
Hey, nobody puts Basie in a corner.
Adam, or shall we say, Bunky Boo Boo. The world knows the name.
Now knows.
What?
I just gotta say, the very first comment on here was from Kelly Palkey, and it's Monkey Boo Boo.
Pretty amazing. The name on and to me, I guess.
Hey, fucking cuss if you want to fucking
I like-
cuss. Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
this is a family
You guys
show.
I know.
here from this guy. Okay. All right. What's up, man?
Hey, so Adam, what have you been doing this last year? Because I know you've made a kind of a artistic and career change at the same time.
Well, so yeah, I've been photographing for quite a while now. I would say like last 14, 15 years, something like that. It's just something that I got a camera for a birthday, I think right around 30. And yeah, I just kind of went with it, had no idea what I was doing for a long time, and was just kind of tired of working for other people, and kind of realized, actually brought it really back to, what made me happiest. And I brought it back to my old Monkey days, and I was having some conversations with my brother, and, he was just like, what are you going to do? What do you want to do with your life? And I'm like, dude, the happiest I was is when I was touring. I was on the road. I was doing something creative. Now, granted, way back then, I was like a young, crazy, kid with a crazy attitude. Had a lot
$30 suit.
$30. Yes, good money spent, but still no loving, baby. I guess
Brian gets to say that now. Brian gets to say that on stage now.
Yeah, I know. Unless I'm playing.
Actually, that line is Dr. Ringding's favorite Monkey line.
No way.
Period.
Oh, wow.
And he'll text me at like 4 a.m, and he'll just be like, "Good money spent." And I'm just like, "You son of a bitch!"
So that was like in studio, like
Noon there for Richie.
and I was like, "Good money spent, but still no nothing, baby."
Yeah, no, it's fucking great.
There it is. Sound bites.
There it is. So anyway, yeah, I've been photographing for quite a while now, and about almost 5 years ago, I left my job, my comfort zone, and yeah, just was like, I'm going to be a photographer. I had no idea what I was going to do. Was just kind of shooting everything I possibly could, which took me in a lot of really great directions. One of them, real estate. That's what I've been doing this last year, man. I stopped for the last, 2 years prior to the pandemic. I was tour managing for a couple different artists, which was awesome. And I was photographing for them. So I got to travel all over the world doing that, going to some really cool destinations, got to go to China a couple times, was, Canada, Mexico, kind of just everywhere, doing what I love to do, which is great. And it was cool to be able to kind of marry the music knowledge, just from being a musician and playing and performing and touring and traveling for so many years, and being on the business end of things, which was really cool. But obviously the pandemic happened. I was actually supposed to go to various countries around Asia, and that just kind of got squashed, obviously, for everybody. But that's okay. Yeah,
We'll still be there.
I was like really freaking out, like I think many of us were, especially, yeah, it'll still be there. Like many of us were when the pandemic happened. I went from doing, a kind of a healthy amount of photo shoots and then traveling and everything. And then all of a sudden I did like 2 photo shoots in 2 months. I was like, oh, this isn't going to work out. Gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was crazy.
You said that around, right? The because people ended up needing photography for insides of houses.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was kind of scary because we didn't really have a lot of information, right? We didn't really know what was going on. And I remember the first house I went into, I felt like I was like doing something totally illegal. I was like one of the few people on the road, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm about to go on somebody's fucking house," and like I thought I was like breaking and entering or something. It was so weird. I just felt like it was like the zombie apocalypse because nobody was around, right? And I was just like, all right, like this is gonna happen. Am I gonna die after I leave this house? Like, that's like my thought. 'Cause we had no idea, really what was going on. It was still so new. Nobody really knew. Like, it was transmitted in every possible way. If you look at somebody in a weird way, like, all of a sudden they have COVID. So I just kind of like was in like a hazmat suit almost, and going into these homes with a camera, just looking like a weirdo. But, I just couldn't have been safer. And all of a sudden, as time has gone over, I'm like, okay, I wear a mask. and I use hand sanitizer now, and that's about it. And I'm still safe and everything going in these homes, but yeah, it was scary. I did 2 photo shoots in 2 months, and I was like, man, this is not going to work out. Like, holy shit. So all of a sudden, there was a company that I just started kind of shooting with, and I reached out to them. I was like, man, I'm ready to get busy. I was in Mexico for a couple of weeks, and I came back, and I said, yeah, exactly, Curtis. I'm ready to get busy with my camera, if you know what I mean. Huh? And they were like, all right. And I mean, for the last, I would say up until mid-November, from basically the beginning of July through mid-November, I was doing like 70 to 80 photo shoots a month. So
wow,
it's pretty awesome. Yeah, October was my busiest. I did 86 photo shoots, which was insane. But yeah, it was awesome. So I actually kind of found like a renewed love for real estate photography, and that's actually been putting me in some pretty rad places. I've done a lot of shoots for some builders, for some construction companies, some architectural firms. I've shot, massive 15,000 square foot homes all the way to little shitty shacks with a kitchen that looked like a bomb went off in it. So
welcome to my home.
yeah, it was like too long, right? I mean, we played, the little shitty dive in the middle of, Nebraska all the way to like the Fillmore. It was awesome. So photography isn't much different. I'm just by myself. And, I'll be honest, like, I've struggled this year with music, with trying to like pick up my guitar and play it. And I bought a new acoustic. I was like, all right, this is going to get me ready to go. Maybe if I have something new. And it's poor little guy just stares at me every day.
Yeah.
I will play you. I promise. But yeah, I've been thinking for a while about doing a new album and doing something on my own, and doing kind of more, to my roots, more punk rock. And yeah, so
Well, you got a fabulous room of musicians here that could probably send you files.
Oh yeah, actually, that's probably very true. Yeah, I need to do something. I mean, I think that's the one component that's been missing from my life for a while, is performing. I was after Monkey. I was in a couple other bands, and one I was in for 8 years, and then the other one I was in for like 4 years. And I haven't really performed live in, I want to say, 2.5, 3 years. And man, I miss it. I know, it's crazy, and I think photography was a really great kind of filler for me.
Yeah.
But there's still that emptiness, after performing, God, since I was 13 years old, playing in bands, that will never
Maybe
go away, What's that?
Talk about that. Maybe we should.
What's
play.
that?
Maybe we should play. Get the band together.
Yeah.
Get whoever's still left alive.
I'm down. Anybody else is down? I've got a great hazmat suit that I could wear.
Cost $30.
Wonder in the house.
Oh my God, man. You remember that? That's crazy. Actually, Wonder is what kind of ushered me into Monkey.
Yeah.
Actually, Wonder is what totally ushered me into Monkey. So, for those of you guys who don't know, Curtis and I were in a band prior to Monkey called Wonder. At the time, I was working at a coffee shop, and I was like, just started working there as well, or wanted to work there. And we were looking for a singer, and I was just talking to Curtis one day, and he was like, oh, I'll be your singer. And he showed up, and he was our singer. That was it. It was really that simple. And then one day, he's like, I was playing bass at the time for this band, and then kind of switched right over to guitar. And then Curtis kind of flipped the script on me and was like, hey, you ever thought about playing in a ska band? And I was like, no. And he was just like, well, you should. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, I'll do it for a while. And that while turned into 6 years. So it was honestly, I think, one of the best experiences of my life. Made lifelong friendships, and we all kind of had our path and our way that we went, which was pretty rad. I mean, it was there were some great times and there were some not so great times, but we all got through it, and we're all still alive, and we're all still smiling at each other, which is nice. So.
Yeah, I just figured out why you fired me. Because I don't have a beard. I don't have a beard besides Nikki.
No, I will try to clarify the fired or not fired scenario.
It was both.
We were having an issue with a band member whom I will not disclose because it will open up another conversation.
Yeah.
But that band member was kind of a jerk to our fans. He wanted the fans to be more traditional and dance a certain way and act a certain way, and so I kind of confronted him a couple times about it. And then finally, I went on a vacation, and I came back, and the only thing I could think of was this guy's got to leave like right now. And we've become friends and not friends and friends and not friends over the years, back and forth since then. But I still don't. I don't dispute my judgment call on that. Then afterwards, there was a very intense conversation about whether or not I, as a band member, had the ability to tell someone that they weren't welcome in the band. And my response was, we got to do what we got to do. To be musicians, you can't let stuff like this stand in your way or hinder you or hinder your audience from adoring you, right? So, and I use that in a general term, adoring, because that's what audiences do. And I think that a group of people didn't see that at the time. And so we parted ways with that group of people. And Dave, you were with that group of people, and I was sad to see you go.
Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about. Yeah. And I felt, I agreed with you, but I also felt a little bit sorry for the person who was being exercised. I'm like, yeah, this ain't right, man, because you've been pretty cool. You know, he's an interesting guy. Like with you, over the years, I've come closer to him, and then there have been times that I'm just like, no way, you're just too much. And so
He was and still is a super cool guy in some ways, but there are other ways at the time that were difficult to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a tricky time for sure. I mean, I know that.
Yeah,
I remember, and we were at your house, in your weird old house where we rehearsed, and we were having these little huddles. We were going to different parts of your house and talking, going into other little groups.
That was a stressful time, man. That was weird. That was hard.
The ebb and flow of this band has been interesting. Just I joined it in 2003, I think. So yeah, right. Fuck you. But I've been fired from this band. I got let go in a lovingly but firm way in about 2010 or so, and just it's a big testament to the band itself and to Curtis as a band leader, that when I did get right in the head and get right in life, that he was like, dude, come on back in. Mm-hmm. The water's fine. Like,
I think that's what I actually said.
What's that?
I think I actually said that to you on the phone. Yeah.
And I've had Hawaii in my brain ever since. That's why I'm here now.
Amazing.
You're just using me as a stepping point to get to Hawaii.
That's right. That's right. You son of a bitch. But no, it's just interesting to like hear from all you guys and like be able to kind of glean off of the history of this band and talk about days that I only got to hear about in passing, like while we were bullshitting in the van on the way to a show, like, oh yeah, back in '96 this shit was going on and that was going this and that and Cactus Club days, and I'm like, I missed all that shit. I missed out on all that shit.
Yeah, I remember when the Cactus Club was a big score. We were so excited to get into the Cactus Club.
Yeah,
I think they let us play for free most likely. Maybe gave us one beer apiece.
Like 8 people in the band. Can you guys share a beer?
Yeah.
Can you share a beer?
Beer. That's it. Yeah.
Also, we had Sherry Biondi and
Yes.
Alan.
Yep. And
Not Skool, but the trumpet guy.
And
Aaron.
Aaron.
Glenn.
Yeah.
who I cannot find on Facebook, which makes me sad.
Yeah. We're getting to that age too that if you can't find someone on Facebook, there's probably a reason why. I hate to be downer like that, but it was 7 years before I found out that Bob Ferber had passed.
Bob.
Oh
yeah.
I remember that. You called me. You told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hit me like a ton of bricks because Bob was one of those guys that I really wanted him to excel. I really wanted him to succeed, but he had kids and he had other groups he was doing and he had this and he had that. And he was like the guy that's like, don't worry, I got it. It's going to be awesome. And it wasn't always awesome. And I'm like, we got to get better at it. And at some point, we said, you're not getting better at it. And he got very indignant about it and very pent up, went his separate ways. And then I found out that, years and years later that he passed on. And I talked to his wife about it because I felt like I never had a chance to make amends because I really did like him. He's a fucking great guy. And his wife said, you know what? You don't have anything to worry about. He loved all of you. He loved all of you. He loved the experience. The things that he couldn't deal with were a passing phase in his life. And when he died, he was cliff diving with his son in Santa Cruz, and he didn't come back up. And nobody knows why. It could have been an embolism. It could have been he hit on a rock. It could have been anything. He didn't come back up, and his son actually went and retrieved him.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Bob,
but
the lighter side, Bob had like the best style, man. That guy had the best suits. He had the best hats. I mean, that guy, he was styled to the max, man. He was just cut out to be in a ska band, man, like a trad band. There was just like, he had the shark skins. The dude just had a swagger, man. He was great.
He had that dance, that dance move.
Yeah. Yeah. Bob.
He was a great guy. His, and I've had several conversations with his wife. She's very, very kind. And I actually worked with his son for a brief period in a company, although I didn't really reach out to him too much. But his wife said that she has no regrets because he lived a life to its fullest as a musician. But also when he passed, he did it doing something that he absolutely loved. He was at the time he was a pirate reenactor. So he would.
That doesn't. Me.
Yeah, he was doing some like crazy LARPing thing.
Life goal, pirate reenacting. I'm telling you. Yes.
And so him and his sons would go out to like a classic sailing vessel of some sort in Santa Cruz and do yar yo, that kind of thing. And he just lived and loved the ocean. And the fact that he went into the waves and didn't come out, it sits absolutely well with her that he found his love.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to let's change the mood. We got some people in the sidebar that are saying hi. We got Adriana Zaragoza. Adriana Zaragoza says hi. She says, "Oh my God, Nikki, it's been so long. I haven't seen you in a million years." She said, "You would have loved the Cactus Club, Brian. You would have loved it."
I'm sure.
Brian.
Well, I mean, that's what I love. I love shithole.
Bathrooms, this side of CBD.
Yeah.
Yep. The fountain that never
Dude, you
I have
mean, the toilet.
used CBG, or I did use CBGB's bathroom, so I know exactly how smelly those are.
Worded my attempt to do CBGB's bathroom. I was like, nope, never mind.
CBGB bathroom. It was just the fact that we survived the CBGB bathroom means that we can survive
Right.
all of COVID.
Yeah.
That was
That toilet, like right at the base of the stairs, just with no door at all.
So for people,
I've seen them both, and San Jose's Cactus Club rivaled it pretty heavily. I mean, at least in
Serious
stench,
competition.
and they're right
I don't know.
there.
Well, I don't know. I practically lived at the Cactus Club bathroom, and when I went to CBGB's, that is a new level.
It was.
New level.
San Jose's funk and New York funk.
so much.
It's East Coast, West Coast. It's not like the rap game, but I mean, like we had our own funk, and honestly, like bathrooms in San Francisco and LA, I've been to some pretty seedy ones and some really shitty clubs, but Cactus Club took the cake. Like they just said, you know what? We're not even going to try to clean it anymore.
No.
We're just going to let it be. And Curtis lives here now.
Oh, wait a minute. The cool thing about the men's room in the Cactus Club bathroom is that someone in a fight grabbed the urinal off the wall, ripped it off the wall, and they left a bare pipe sticking out of the wall, and they're like, if you want to use it, use it.
Oh,
People just in the pipe sticking out the wall. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. I've walked into that bathroom.
Bullseye around it.
Bathroom was gnarly, but you know what though? At the stage too, they were like, you know what? Go back to a classic word, mung. The amount of mung that we saw on that stage was just nasty. I mean, I was at a show there, and this band called the Diesel Queens.
Diesel Queens. Yeah, local San Jose stuff.
The dude performed a beer enema on stage, and I was like, "What the fuck did I just see?"
They were never. It wasn't Diesel Queens. It was Big Sissy Brigade would do Twinkie fights, where they would unwrap like 200 Twinkies and just like start throwing them everywhere.
The worst part is there was some drunk fool who ended up eating all those Twinkies.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so one thing about the Cactus Club, because I had a lot of discussions back in the back room because you know, I was the representative of the band, you know, that went back to get paid and all that stuff. But you know, so the guy, oh God, what's his name?
What's his name? Not Calvin.
If anybody remembers Calvin, he's like 8 foot tall and just a big massive man. Not particularly muscular or anything, but just foreboding, just gigantic. And him and his brother owned the place. But I went back there and I said I was talking to him and he's doing the whole like, yeah, you guys didn't pull as many as last people. And then I said, hey. You got anything in store for the club? He's like, yeah, we got to fix the fucking stage, man. We're going to put a new stage in. I said, oh, well, the old stage looks shiny and black. And he's all, dude, that carpet needed to be ripped out years ago.
Yeah.
The drum riser had this black, glossy, like linoleum sheen. And none of it was linoleum. It was all carpet. That is how disgusting that place was.
Oh yeah, that's pretty.
I mean, that was like the carpet in the caravan when they finally pulled it out.
The back room to trials, more fun carpet. Yeah,
carpet is so identifiable as carpet. Like,
I'm against my better judgment. I did a show barefoot at the Cactus Club because I was going around about my day and I had sandals on. And I meant to go home and change, and I couldn't. So I had to just go. I wasn't going to do a show in sandals. I'm like, I'm going to trip over them or something. So I just had to do it barefoot. By the end of the night, I stuck my foot in my tub and washed it, and just black tar dripped from my foot. I'm not kidding. Not exaggerating. Black.
Yeah,
you got all the fungus.
All the floors in that club were just nasty. I mean, there was not a good floor in that that entire day. Trust me, I passed out a couple of good times on those floors and backstage.
Nice,
Actually.
nice.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know that we spent so much time at the Cactus Club. I love the Cactus Club. I love that generation. I love contributing to it, but not even mentioned not once in the Cactus Club retrospective. Yeah, that was. I mean, I didn't think we were the biggest band ever, but like we did a good deal of damage at that club.
For sure.
Yeah, we'd filled it at least 2 or 3 times. At least 2 or 3 times.
Definitely a part of that scene for a good long while. Yeah.
I come up.
I was in the band with the director of that movie, so I don't like that. He knows a monkey.
I mean,
we were a conscious decision.
We were the outliers. We weren't some of the other like new metal kind of rock bands that were happening.
All about metal.
But we were the one band that wasn't that genre that was selling.
Well, it was you guys in the Brownies that would get me up from Cal Poly to come up for the weekend and crash either at Jeff's house in like the apartment that was
Brownies
2 houses down and up, like above, or at my friend Carrie's house, and we would just go to the Cactus and see the Brownies and see Salmon and see you guys, and it was
on the same bill.
probably on the same bill, a lot of times on the same bill. And it was one of those things, you know what I mean? That's what really drew me back to San Jose after I decided to not do college anymore down south. I came back here, and it was like, I'm set. I've got a club. I've got a district. I've already know bands. And then, like 2000-ish, when I come back, all that shit went away.
Yeah. I'm sad.
Yeah.
But the Caravan still kicking. We did a show with them with the manager the bar manager from the Caravan to support the Caravan's GoFundMe page because they're doing pretty poorly. They're like on the edge of losing it at any moment.
And just to piggyback on what Curtis is saying, if the guys that don't live in town anymore, you know that the Cinebar burned down.
I saw that. Yeah. How crazy!
Yeah, it burned down at like 10 a.m.
Oh, all day long, just helicopters and smoke, and then the whole thing, the whole block, like where Twice Read Books was, right in the middle. And I guess if you don't remember, there's a New Mexican place called Chacho's, kind of on the end. It's
all that gone.
Gutted.
Chacho's had closed down like 4 or 5 days before they announced the closure. So I'm like, insurance?
I was thinking insurance fraud, but it happened to be that the whole thing started upstairs in the back at a gas.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah. From what I heard, that's a speculation. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If anybody cares, Brian has put the GoFundMe link in the feed. So if you feel like throwing a couple of ducats at a local fund or a local watering hole that needs a little bit of help, they're there. And Rachel Warner has been managing that place for eons. She's a delight to know, and I would hate for her to have to find some other job that's like half-assed because she ran a great bar. So cheers for Rachel. Excellent. Oh man, there's so much gravitas in this room. There really is. You guys are awesome. It's been great talking to you guys.
To the monkey bird too.
The monkey bird sounds like a thing that, I mean, you want to catch it, you don't want to catch it. It's
Hey Kurt, I think we just found the title for our next album, Tip of the
monkey bird. A lot of Titanic overtones. That's the whole theme.
That's cold, man. Cold.
Ooh, forgot it, Curtis.
Oh my God.
I've been meaning to thank you for like my one Wikipedia. I'm mentioned in Wikipedia once, and it's on the monkey page.
That's so rad.
And you know who put that together? I was like, anybody could change the page on Wikipedia. I wonder if I could create a page of us. Hey, look at that! It worked.
My name wrong.
Good to see you.
Too, but yeah, I was the original what do you call it, admin for that page. So,
well, there was one funny moment that this was happened maybe 10 plus years after I was in the band. So like 2008, 10, something like that. And I was on a bus, and these two total little ska kids come in, covered in patches, super cute. And I'm just sitting there minding my business. And one little kid whispers to the other kid, "I think that's the chick from The Conspiracy," which The Conspiracy was a ska band that I was in before.
Yeah.
And the other guy goes, "No, she's a trombone player in Monkey." And I was just like, it was such a steamy pride moment, So.
Oh man,
dude, I had that at an Iron Maiden concert. It was the craziest thing. Yeah, Ghost was playing, and we're in Oakland. So this happened to me twice. And this guy keeps looking over at me during Ghost, and I'm like, looking at, and he keeps looking at me. And then Ghost finishes, and then we're just all waiting for Iron Maiden, And he goes, "Dude, were you the guitar player for Monkey?" And I was just like, "Yeah, like 20 years ago." And he's just like, "Dude, I fucking knew it, man. Holy shit." He's like, "Dude, you guys were such a big part of my life. Let me go buy you a beer." So we went and got a beer and like hung out and talked, and it was like the raddest thing. And then like a year and a half later, my friends were like, "Hey, we got extra tickets to go see Smashing Pumpkins." And I was like, "Oh fuck, I'll go," And it was like James E. Ha was back, and like more or less the original lineup was back. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll go." And we're walking to the parking lot. My friends, who don't totally really know like my musical history, these guys are like, "Hey, Monkey Man, what's up?" And I'm like, "What's up, guys?" And my friends were like, "What the fuck is Monkey?" I was a man called Monkey. "What? People know you?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess so."
Evidently, they have a more working memory than even I.
Wow, was I? Oh yeah. No.
Oh man, there was some.
Just
so it's
what kind of impact you have on people's lives.
I mean, and it goes both ways, though. I mean, we had this impact, and I mean, Curtis knows a lot of my history and knows a lot of like my life back then. And I mean, I'll be honest, like Monkey, like the band saved my life. Like the direction I was heading and like the trajectory I was going was not a good one, and I was a mess. And so Brian, trust me, like anything you could have done, I probably had already done prior to you. And it kind of got Kurt ready, for after that. And I mean, but I'll say, like, being in that band it was everything I needed in my life, and I learned so much. And it was emotional, it was exciting, it was honestly like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And but it's also given me the ability to be able to be like, man, I could fucking do anything. I did this shit when there was no internet. We literally toured the entire country with a fucking map, and I do that map. I think about that map sometimes, and I'm like, man, these motherfuckers, these people who have no goddamn clue with their GPS, we did this shit with a fucking map, and we did it over and over and over again. And it was rad. And we never got lost, well, okay, we got lost a couple of times, but
That's part of it, though.
No, but
it's part of the adventure.
The relationships, that we fostered over the years with, the numerous members and the numerous people we had met from all over the country, all over the world. And, the fact that we're doing this now 25 years later is really special. I think we did something that was really special. And I know for me, it was everything I absolutely needed in my life. And, so thank you for taking a chance on me.
Stop it! You get in the waterworks.
No, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
It's just so incredibly impactful, and it just made me realize, when I was in a really down place, when I was like, man, what the fuck am I doing with my life? It was really thinking back, man, my happiest moments were when I was doing what I loved. And what I loved was something creative, and it was something awesome. And, that was a big decision, kind of a deciding factor for me to like leave my comfort of my job and just go and like pursue, what was happy. And so, I think a lot like, I could have gone the traditional college path, and I'm glad that I didn't. I ended up going back to college in my mid 30s, and rad, because I had all this life experience behind me, which was awesome. But, to be where I'm at now, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for what happened 25 years ago, what we created.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey, guys, sorry. I actually have to leave. I have an appointment in about 35 minutes, so I hate to do it. No, I'm going to go get a COVID test.
That's an important appointment.
Yes, it is. I love all of you guys. I'm super, super, super honored to be part of the history that is Monkey. And I'll talk to you all later, huh?
Right.
Later.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Man. So many good.
That all on you, but you guys got to know, I mean,
Here's the thing. Speaking from my perspective, and I was going to Cal Poly. I hated it. I hated everything about it. I had transferred from Colorado State as a forestry major, and I got into the radio station as an elective.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "What are you going to play? What are you going to play?" And I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know. I don't got anything. Like, I got a couple of special CDs and a couple of records. I'm like, I'll play ska music." Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Sure, we don't have a ska. We have a ska show, but like you can play ska music, fine." And so I took over the ska show and like expanded it. And a part of it was like, all right, like what's in the Bay Area? What do I know? Who do I know in the Bay Area? Well, I know like the Insiders. I know some other like fringy bands. And then I remember hearing about Monkey for one of the first times. This is, I went to school in '89. So it was like 90 something. You guys were like, we had collided basically when I got into the radio station stuff and you guys started up. That was it. And so hearing this band, and I'm, it's no joke. I showed you the tape. I've heard this band from day one, and 25 years later, and then getting to talk to you guys individually now after probably seeing everybody on stage at least once or twice, and what you're saying before, what Brian was saying, like it's really cool and it's a really honor to be a part of this because it's your band. But to be honest, it's never your band. The fans' band, you know what I mean? And when it's cool, and I've known Kurt for a long, long time now, and it's really cool. Like I turn myself, there's a switch. There's friend Curtis, hey friend Curtis, and then there's band guy Curtis as a fan. I'm like, hey Curtis, your band like does this. I'm like, okay, friend again. I'm like, you're weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, but it's so cool to be able to weave in and out of all of that, and to hear the music and to hear this go. Hearing that tape and then hearing the latest stuff. It's like all the rest of the bands I really like from the Bay Area, like the Odd Numbers and all these other bands, and going back to even from Santa Cruz, like I was saying, like Durango '96 and and Insiders and stuff, and like old school.
Wow.
That I to see the progression and still be a fan, and then being able to talk to you guys on these things. And Curtis has had me on a few of these, and it's super fun. It's super rad, and it's like. It's really neat to see everybody still has the enthusiasm for it. Even if you've been fired or you quit or you don't care anymore or whatever, to be able to come back and talk about it in a really nice space and have everybody smiling is rad.
That's awesome, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, Bosco, do you remember hearing about Jimmy Two Times of the Conspiracy?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have conspiracy music. I just got you got me. I'm like, fuck, I got to go dig that out now.
I'm on the cover. Look at the cover. You can see me. I'm in the album cover. Yeah.
I'll look. Yeah, no. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, that was the stuff. I'm like, oh man, I know that I have that. I'm like, oh, I don't want to take off and like rifle through my crap and not find it. It's like, but I do have it. I'll flash you the screen the next time I'm on.
Yeah. So I love ska and I get made fun of now a bit because I'm into like. Now really like late 60s and 70s psychedelic and all that kind of shit. So I'm really into that stuff now, but I still get made fun of my love of ska. And I'm just like, fuck you. I don't, you're not going to shoot me for that. I have
long hair, a beard, and a pastor shirt on. I still have a speaker in my bedroom. I love ska.
Yeah. I had some of the best fucking years of my life playing in these bands, going on tour, making records. And, you know, there was a couple of girls who were inspired along the way that they were like, man, you play trombone and you're up there with that badass. It's like, yeah, I have no complaints. I have nothing but love. And I've created long-term relationships. And I'll still go see ska bands that play in the Bay Area. Like, I went to see Hepcat not too long ago, and I went to see this. And it's funny because they see me and they still recognize, which is like, they still like, oh, hey. And I'm just like,
That's so rad.
We had Greg on 2 of the shows so far.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
He's in it. He's in it to win it. He loves it. He loves it. I told him he has an open door whenever he wants to come in. You can catch both of those on the on our Facebook page, Facebook / the Bidness BIDNISS or NESSS .talk. Bidness.talk. Someone had already gotten the Bidness. They got the Bidness and just Bidness and all the other ones. Whatever. Let them have it. But yeah, we have those episodes. So if you want to see Greg just chit chat for a while, he took Dave Hilliard to task on our show, which was
nice.
Which was really great, man. East Coast, West Coast style.
I gotta say, I was actually like pretty stoked when I posted a picture of I don't know, me playing guitar. It was like a show that we had played at the Gaslighter in Campbell. So little baby Adam, going way back. So just little baby Adam, and I posted this picture on Instagram, dude, and both Dave Wakeling and the English Beat liked it, and I was like, motherfuckers, all right, like still in it. This is good.
Do you remember?
They turned that into a gamer lounge.
Really? Oh yeah, they did. It's like not Level Up or something. Isn't it called Level Up or something like that?
I think that's what it's called, Level Up. Yeah, I lived around the corner, so I lived by the water tower. I lived in the house that looked like a boat with the blue awning, and so I used to go walk around and get see all the stuff in there. Yeah, it was. That's crazy. Campbell's so not Campbell anymore. It's like mini Los Gatos times.
Very broy.
For sure. So let me do this. Let's change it up just a little bit. Oh, by the way, Erica Rendler, if you remember her, Erica Rendler was the girl that used to have us on KSCU.
Yeah.
She had the screechy voice. Erica Rendler. She's in the room and she says, hell yeah, no internet. You guys are hardcore for reals, true grit and passion. Woohoo! Now that you've, I thank you guys for changing the topic because I'm not good at receiving, compliments. So I've been working on that for years. But I was thinking about, and I'm like, I don't know. I was thinking about sharing my favorite memories of you guys in the group, and I don't know. Some of them may not be like the most wonderful for the person to hear, but for me, they bring me joy. Do you guys want to hear them?
Do it.
Sure. All right. Well, start. I'm just going to go the way my screen goes because it's a little bit different than everybody else's screen. But I'm going to go with Dave Richards first. Dave Richards playing. We played a club in Arcata called Six Rivers Brewery. And it's north of Arcata. It's the towns like
McKinleyville.
McKinleyville. Thank you. I got to ask the local here. And you were standing outside, and I was standing in the doorway of the place and looking at you. You were you were walking up, and you were having a discussion with one of the other guys, and this really nice older lady and her daughters are walking up behind you, and you were trying to tell him what the concept of what you were talking about. You're like, no, it's like this. And I said, what are you talking about? You stopped. The nice lady and her daughters were right behind you, and you said, it goes like this. It's 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. It's like that. That's the shocker. And then I said, hey, turn around. And he turned around and he's like, oh. And I was like,
that's fantastic.
Winning.
Keep in mind, I was probably 17 at that point.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah, you were very
And
young. You were very young.
I joined the band as a senior in high school. I wasn't in the band for very long, and it was senior year of high school, and that was when I was friends with Mike Attorney, who was a big fan of the band.
Micah.
And then he
Yeah.
discovered I got in the band, and like we were in high school together. We were good friends.
Yeah.
Long time. And then so 17. I don't know if I remember Arcada. I remember breaking the stage in Humboldt.
Oh yeah.
What a good memory.
Vince
That was a good one.
I remember.
Vince Wellman, like from the Dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we played right before them.
Doing obviously all those shows with Undercover SKA. Where I learned, like their trumpet
another
style,
one.
and I had to learn their book.
Yeah.
I love guys.
Yeah.
I just learned their book and played a couple shows with them.
Nice. Let's go on to Nikki. So Nikki, I remember specifically, she did this really cool thing on stage where she would, two really cool things that absolutely enthralled the audience. One was for the entire audience, where she would take gauze and sterno and put a stripe of it on the inside of her trombone. And then when she went to go to solo, she would grab the second trombone, because she had the one that she was playing through the show and the one that was special for the solo. And when her solo was coming up, she would light the gauze on fire and then blow a fireball into the crowd, which you remember that. You're like, I never did that.
No,
You did that.
I
You
remember that.
You did that. You had two on stage because of it. Because one was all torched.
I remember.
And the second thing is, and this satisfied half of the crowd, the male half of the crowd, because she was up there looking tough, looking mean, looking sexy, and then she would play, and then she would go like that, and the guys would all go like, oh. Like that was the thing for all the guys that came to see us. And I asked her, I said, I've been told more than once that the guys are really excited to see you because you do this very sexy wipe afterwards. And she said, well, I have a labret piercing, and when I blow, the spit comes out of my lip.
That's pretty good.
That is the best.
Still got it.
I still have it. It just come out, and I just be like, oh.
Yeah.
She's like wiping the drool off, and everyone's all, oh, she's sexy. That girl's sexy.
Amazing.
Kevin.
Glad I get into a porn moment. Yeah, sweet.
They thought you were wiping it off because you were like like that at them, but you were wiping it off because you didn't want to drool on yourself, and that's awesome.
Sexy.
Awesome. Kevin, I remember our trip to Utah, and you and I were talking to the Sturgeon guys about how Utah alcohol is 3.5 or whatever. And you guys are drinking beer in the back room, and they're like, "We're going to get you drunk. We're going to get you drunk." And so they're handing you beers, right? And then
Park City, right?
Yeah. What?
I think that was Park City.
Oh no, that's the second story.
And we were on stage.
I'm putting these two stories together. The first one was in proper, and this is the first time where the skinhead guy showed up and made us cookies. Remember? He's like, I got and Kevin's drinking beer in the back room, and I said, "Hey, Kevin, it's time to load." And he goes, "Man, I feel pretty tipsy." And I was like, "You son of a bitch!" I don't know. I'm so weird. I'm so tipsy. And then when we returned, Sturgeon General was so adamant about breaking this whole "we can't get you drunk" thing that they showed up. We played with them at a show in Park City, and then they proceeded to buy shots. And
For that.
And I remember that I was not drinking the shots. I was doing this. I would grab the shot like this, and I'd go, and then I would go into a potted plant that was on the stage. Yeah, but at some point, Kevin's like, "Give that to me," and I was like, "Okay." And you got so snookered, we practically had to drag you out, like with the fraud like this.
Oh my God.
No, I remember what happened is that you on stage made a joke about how, well, with this limit of alcohol, we can't even get drunk in Utah. And they took that as a personal challenge. And so they started sending up these rounds. And I just noticed, the little guys are turning down their shots. You mind if I have your shot? Okay, cool. Oh, the big guys are turning down their shots. Okay. Oh, everyone is turning down their shots. Oh, I'm just going to. And by the end of it, it was literally the most I've ever drank in my entire life. I think it was 31 drinks by the end of it.
It got
and that was pretty snookered.
15 rounds. The owner of the venue was like, "Oh yeah, motherfuckers from California, we're getting you slammed." So here we are in Park City, which is like even a higher elevation, and it got to a point. I was like, "Man, after 10, and I could handle my own, but after 10, I was like, damn, dude, I'm done." Caddy was like, "Oh yeah, well, I'm not."
I recently went out to Utah and hung out with Craig from Surgeon General, and he still brings that up. And I'm like, dude, we were talking about the beer, and you started serving shots. It doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter.
Well, that was the argument. We said off beer, but they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get these California kids drunk," and they did. They definitely succeeded. Debbie, like getting you into the van at the end of the night was probably one of my favorite moments, man. It was like a little started going downhill backwards, and
that was beer. Well, not beer. That was the most alcohol I've ever had in one night. But the drunkest I got was actually in Cleveland. Oh my God, because I've never actually gotten sick on alcohol, and I don't know, something. It wasn't as much booze, but it just hit me really hard.
That was a lemon bar, right?
But I just completely passed out in the living room on the floor, basically, and then all of a sudden I'm like, "Where's the bathroom?" I'm basically a blind man. They're like a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and I've never been that shade of green. It was really bad.
On your way to the bathroom,
carrying me to the van, pissing on each arm. Like, okay, we go to sleep now.
You were pretty wasted that night. That was
pretty. Dave, Jazzmodius.
No stories to tell.
No stories. Dave, I really enjoyed playing with you, not just because of your stellar musicianship, but also because of the little elfin dance you used to do on stage where you kick your legs out. And I always used to enjoy that. And I'll say that the one memory that really sticks with me is at some point we're having some conversation about music, and I was a little green in understanding how to structure music, and I was saying no, the line goes ba da dee da da da, and you said, well, why can't you sing the part? And I said, I am singing the part. You're like, you're not singing the actual notes. And I'm all, yeah, but they're above my range. And you said, well, if you want to play it, and you handed me your trombone, and I said, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I was really incensed by it at the time. But the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I felt, I should be able to play that thing. I should be able to do anything that I tell somebody else to do. And so that's very important, a very important rule for me, is that I give guidance, but I don't dominate. And I think that even if that was a tense moment at the time, I look back with a certain reverence and fondness, because it does illustrate.
Well, I was kind of an asshole on that occasion. I said, you do it, man. But I do remember that, and I remember being really frustrated because you wanted something.
Yeah.
You wanted something to come out of the horns, and you were singing something that was like tuneless. There was no melody in there. I'm like, dude, if you give me some actual notes, I think I can. If you hum a few bars,
Yeah. I think what I was
In a few bars, I'll play it. I was like so frustrated. I finally just handed you the trombone.
that's the thing is being what people don't. I have this thing that I talk about sometimes, which is for a long time, musicians were absolute pariahs in the job market because the people are like, oh, you can't trust a musician. They're always on drugs. They're always getting kicked out by a girlfriend. They're always showing up late, hungover. And the reality is, if you're doing it right, you not only are a trustworthy person to work for the company, but you're also skilled at multiple things, including controlling your own anger. And that is really important. That is really important. And I've it's been something that over the years I refuse to talk to employers about. But now that the mystique kind of died away, and there hasn't been a band that's thrown fucking TVs outside of the Hyatt anymore. So now when I go to interviews, I go, I'm a musician. And they go, oh, cool, we got a couple of musicians on staff. And I'm all, yeah, but I'm a musician that has booked, maintained, written music, and toured the entire globe and dealt with multiple money exchanges, multiple borders. I have a skill set that's way above your average person. And I'm happy to share that with you whenever you want to. I am fucking proud of it.
That's awesome.
I'm fucking proud. And it took me years to get there.
That's so rad.
Absolutely. Adam.
Yes,
Adam. Where do we start with Adam? Adam had one. Adam was, by the way, a great guitarist. In fact, many people have remarked on Adam's ability to be the timepiece for the band. He's absolutely on beat, on time. He writes his parts, whether they are simple or complex. They are specifically positioned within the tune, and they are trustworthy. And so that's the big thing about Adam's performances. But I remember that Adam had this problem of waking up with night terrors and just yelling stuff and then going back to sleep.
Here we go.
Tragedy is you didn't film any of that.
No.
Okay, so I'll just keep it down to two stories that are just joy, joy for me. Like I said, some of these are embarrassing, but they're joyful. So I'm driving the van. Adam just drove all night long. The sun is coming up. There's kind of a gray hue in the sky. We're some desolate road, and Adam is like, yo, don't worry, I'm awake. I'll still be your co-pilot. And he grabs his pillow and he's hugging his pillow and he's smoking a cigarette. And he's like, yeah, this has been and he just out like a light, right? And so I'm like, oh, great co-pilot. So I'm just driving. And about 15 minutes later, he goes, huh? What the fuck? Who fucking burned my pillow? Some asshole burned my pillow.
I remember.
He was the one with the cigarette.
Oh yeah, man. I remember that too. I was so pissed, and I was like, "What? Who the fuck burned my pillow?" And I still have the butt of the cigarette in my pocket. And then I fucking pass back out again. I'm like, then I wake up like a couple hours later, still with the cigarette butt in my fingers, and I look down at my pillow, and I looked over at Kurt, and I was like, I must have burned a hole in my pillow. He was just like, yeah, you did, dude.
And then there was the night that we all spent we got a single hotel room, 2 double beds. There's like 6 people living there, or in the room, and we're trying to keep it down, which we turn off the lights and we're trying to get to sleep and whatnot. And Adam and Kevin fell asleep head to head along the front of the beds, right? So one guy was going towards the bathroom, one guy's going towards the window, and their heads were right next to each other. And Kevin was, some people are known for snoring. I'm going to put it out there. Some people are known for snoring. And Kevin had a grandiose verbiage of, the snoring style. And he snored like an opera. He's like, oh! and Adam is asleep, and me and T-Bone are talking. We're just talking and hanging out all night in the dark and like talking about times and stuff. And Adam suddenly just flips over, does a push-up, and looks right at Kevin and goes, "Stop snoring, book it, motherfucking."
No, and I kept
Literally like that. It was
no, but
fantastic.
so let me preface this first. So T-Bone had never seen this, and Kurt was used to me, like, because I would wake up in the van, I'd push myself up and be like, "What time is it? What time is it?" And Kurt would be like, "It was 3 in the morning." I'd be like, "Okay," and I'd just go back to sleep. And so this happened that night too at the hotel. We were at the Westvale Lodge. There was like, I think like there was like a weird snow blizzard or whatever, and all the rooms were taken up, and they shoved us in this one room. And I remember the sliding glass door in the bathroom had broken. That was the only room they can give us. And so we're like, okay, cool, like whatever. We just need a place to sleep. And so we're tired. I'm exhausted. I was like mad at Kevin for something. I don't even know what it was, but I was mad. And so I get up, and the first time, there's 2 times that night. The first time I sit up and I'm looking right at Kurt and T-Bone, and I'm like, "What time is it? What time is it?" And Kurt's like, whatever time it was, 2 in the morning or whatever. And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, went back to sleep. And then T-Bone, "What's that?" And Kurt's like, "Dude, he was asleep." Like, he's like, "Dude, his eyes were open." He's just like, "Yeah, but they're all super bloodshot." And then like, a half hour later, I wake up and I look at Kev and I'm like, "Stop fucking snoring, Kev. You fucking bass player. You bassist. And then like I fucking went back down again. And then when Kurt told me that the next morning, I was like fucking mortified. I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." But,
No, it was sheer like these moments are sheer joy. They are sheer joy, and
they were good moments. That shit still makes me laugh to this day. I tell those stories. I'm like, God damn. I was like, I used to have these crazy like moments where I would just wake up and just ask, like, be so mad and just ask about what time it was.
I remember the bad times like that.
What?
Go ahead.
Oh, and then the next morning you apologize and it's like, "Dude, you were clearly still asleep. It was just not offended at all."
Oh man. I was gonna say even the bad times were fun too. Like the bird. Remember the bird? That hit the windshield.
God, the bird.
And it was just
Adam was driving the van, and the bird, boom, hits the windshield and gets stuck in the windshield wiper. And I'm like, "Help me!"
Yeah, and I'm like, "Holy shit, this fucking bird!" And it's just staring.
No.
He's like, "Ah!"
Like, we're heading down to Santa Barbara. It was on the Tomato Head Record store, and I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, "This fucking bird is looking at me."
He's staring at him, and then he hits the windshield wipers and is
No.
Bird against the window
and pulled them back. And we were so hoping the bird would just go, "Flip, flip, flip, I'm fine." And it just went,
So I finally stopped the van, and somebody lifted the windshield wiper and just sadly rolled off out of the van, and I was like, "No."
"I'd be sorry." Okay, don't.
Yeah,
such a violent band. Such a violent band.
Such a violent band. Yeah. And then our time in
what?
Philly, our time in Philly with the Gangster.
Oh yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. Some of these guys didn't experience that. That was, we stayed at a dive with some friends that we met at a show, and there was like this 14-year-old kid that was like, "You need something? I'll get you something. You need money? I'll get you money. You need drugs? I'll get you whatever you want. I'll get you whatever." And then he's like, "Here's a joint for you. Here's a joint for you. Here's a joint for you. You know where to call me." And I'm like,
he was like this little like hustler in the neighborhood, man. But then he
comes back. He comes back like multiple times. He wants to like hang out with us, and we're like, "Lose the kid, man. The cops are gonna like smell us like smoking out with the kid, and then we're gonna be in jail." And the next thing we know, he's like, yo, these are my bros. And I'm like, cool, nice to meet you. And they're like, yeah, where do you want us to put it? And he's like, it's around the corner. And we go, and literally his bros show up with a stack of wheels to trade his wheels out on his car.
That was the weirdest shit.
Yeah. And we're like, what happened to your wheels? Did you blow a tire? And he's like, nah, man, I got to have fresh wheels every day. Every day, man.
These kids ran the neighborhood. It was the weirdest shit. And like, I would sit out on the front of the stoop. So like, I don't smoke anymore. At the time I smoked, and I would just go out there in the mornings. We were there for a couple days, and I saw this just happen. And I was like, this is the weirdest shit in the world. I would just be out there having a smoke and a cup of coffee, and like this dude would roll up in his like Lexus, and all these like little cronies came out of the fucking woodworks, and they would like literally jack the car up, change the wheels, and then put the new ones on, and the guy would just drive back off. And yeah, that's when we were like, what the fuck's this?
Like he'd hand joints out to all of them. Joints. And then he'd bring big ass wad of cash. I'm like, I don't even want to know what you
crazy do. Guys, man.
It was funny to get out of here alive.
Legit. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. It's been fucking great hanging out. We should do this again for certain. Maybe even in person after the fucking stuff goes away and Biden fixes everything.
Yeah.
If does anybody else have anything to say? Do you have anything to promote, websites or anything?
No. Really.
I'm gonna do another one of these. It's a bingo night, punk rock DJ bingo. And it's going to benefit the Caravan. No, Cinebar. Sorry, Cinebar, because of the burn down part, and sort of Caravan. Basically, whatever money we can do. I've done 3 of them, and what we do is we set up cameras and everything, and get the Zoom going with like 100 people, and I just DJ punk rock, and you got a punk rock bingo card on your phone, and you basically, that's a Descendants song. Okay, that's a Ramones song. Okay, and people donate. And it's been pretty successful so far, but I think we have a website. I'm just a DJ, man, but it's called the San Jose Pandemic Punk Rock Bingo and Booze. That's my promotion. That's all you get out of me.
Nice. If you guys want to, if anybody out there wants to go to the Monkey store, we got stuff at monkeyska.limitedrun.com. limitedrun.com. So, but in any case, fucking awesome to see you guys. Keep the faith, keep being positive, keep playing music and art and everything that makes you happy. Dave, if you want to drop a link in the feed, you might get a couple of trombone enthusiasts that want to take lessons from you online. Seriously.
Yeah. Seriously. What I've known and learned from this whole thing is, there's a lot of musicians going, well, I haven't done anything because of COVID, but they're all willing to do stuff because of COVID. And so you can trade files, you can get on your garage band or whatever and just bang something out, backtrack it and go, hey, fix this for me. Yeah. And then send it to the person.
We're doing some remote shit. I forget the tool that we use, but I can lay down tracks, send them to him, and he adds them into his mix and sounds great. Synchronous, it all works out. Yeah. So it's a good thing. But I'm just like Mitch, like I said, I just go and jam with DJs. And DJs play for hippies, and hippies don't care about COVID. So they're all just dancing around naked. So I don't need to really have any students or any bands. I got my niche. Just like there's a lake down here called Lake Atitlan, which is just this big ass lake. And it's dotted or ringed around the side with new agey communities.
Nice.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, man, stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, stay safe. Stay safe. Stay smiling. And if you can, like, if you know other musicians that you haven't seen in a while, or even like other doormen, bartenders, club owners, people that own restaurants, just reach out to them and just say, hey, just
make sure to hit up Matt's thing too.
Yeah, Matt. Once again, Our drummer, our original drummer, Matt, is undergoing lots and lots of surgeries. He's had a bout with cancer, and he is hoping for the best. So he has a GoFundMe page, and it's please feel free to give as much as you humanly can to it. And it's been a joy and an honor, and I love you all.
I love you guys too.
Sure. See you all.
So good to see everybody.
Bye.
Good
All
night.
right, that's the business. That's
All right.
the business. Thank you, guys. Hey, if you guys want to, bingo,
Hey.
live, huzzah.
Oh dear Lord.
It's a boy.
All right.
Why would you?